premiumbeat.com. 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 Premiumbeat.com.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome at station number 5. And again, a big thank you to everyone who helped and to Eunice for
Your volume is very low, Jay.
Maybe I'm speaking that, I don't know. So is it better?
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, thanks for everyone to join. Thanks to everyone who helped and supported and thank to Eunice for learning always new skills and putting new things together. And yeah, so actually, I think I'm just handing over to Eunice, and she can tell us a little bit more and guide us through the questions of the day, the restoration teams.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I think the presentation said everything. You know, all the information is in there. But tonight we want to look at practically how do we get started? Because what I find with a lot of people, they have all these plans and ideas and they've got the enthusiasm. But to get 2 or 3 people to come and have coffee with them and tell them about, now they don't know where to go from there. So tonight we just want to break through that barrier, break that ice, because it's actually easy. You speak to a lot of people, but because you had a lot of feedback, you're afraid to go start it. So don't tell people, come and have coffee with me. I want to tell you that you're gonna join the restoration team. Just start talking to people. Invite 2 or 3 people, or go and have coffee with someone, or a beer, or whatever you do, and just ask them, if you could change in this area where we live, what would you change? And people are very quick. I've never gotten anybody who didn't say, I want to take the kids off the street, or I want to clean up the streets, or they have an answer like very quickly for you. And then just start talking to them. How would they do it? What do they think they can do? Who will they need to help them to do it? Because that is actually a project. And if that's a need in that person's heart, it means that should be done in that area. Now, not all the areas will have the same things that they want to do. So in your area, speak to people in your area. And once you've got 1 or 2 people speaking on education, for argument's sake, the one could be, I want to train domestics to cook better food, or help them to be literate, or whatever people want to do. If it's anything to do with training, then get somebody from a school and speak to them. I met with Salome this week, and she actually worked as a teacher at a deaf school. And I said to her, how can we learn to sign language? And she immediately sent me some information, which is super. It's on the internet, it's free, and you can learn to do it like 1 word a week or whatever, and then you can communicate to more people. So there's a lot of things in teaching that we can do. Teaching is not only school or only university. Education is about all the teaching, crafts, all sorts of education. Now, if you look at where we want to go with the assemblies, there's a lot of teaching, a lot of training, a lot of information that needs to come to the people. And every one of us sits with a little part of that, which we can come and contribute. But let's take it back to restoration teams. So if you have 2 or 3 people that start talking about education, or start talking about cleaning up the area, not even recycling, just saying, let's clean the streets, or if I could only do this, that's where you get started. That's the beginning of a restoration team. Guys, if you think we're going to have a committee with 20 people sitting there with their suits around the table, and that is what we call a restoration team, no. It's going to form naturally as a community forms and as people step forward. If not, it doesn't belong to the community. We've had years of that, of people coming in with a board, and then they tell you what to do, and that's not where we want to go. So each one of us can bring somebody on board and get them to be involved in a restoration team, because that is where the things will happen in a community, not on any other level, but in the restoration teams, because that's where the plans will be sparked and where projects will be brought and worked on, and getting more people in and saying, this person wants to do this. What do you think about that? And with more people coming on and starting talking about it, it really becomes a very, very good fitted project for your community where you are at. So tonight, that's all I wanted to say. But tonight I want to ask us each to just come on board and say, what knowledge do you have? What's in your heart? What do you want to do? Where do you, in which restoration team do you think you want to work? Oh, I just want to say, because some people ask me, if you're an officer in an assembly, can you then also work in a restoration team? Yes, yes. On the website of the PGSD, it says it very clearly. So yes, you can. You cannot be an officer in more than one position. So you cannot be an assembly officer and be a restoration team officer, the leader of education or whatever, but you can work in it, and you can have a project right from the start. Please, I want to remind you that officers will only work in that position for 3 years. That position is not for until the end of your life when you get to pension, and which I don't think any of us will go there. So we just keep on keeping on. So whoever wants to start up a project or work in a restoration team, get started with it, but don't be what do you call it now? Don't let them nominate you for more than one group. Just as an officer, choose which group you want to be in, and then work with the others on the other groups. Also, it's important for the people who are here, because I think all of us are self-starters. We are people who have the ability to start something and to take it forward. I am told that only 1% of the population can start something. a lot of people can follow. Once you say, listen, guys, we're going to have a picnic on Saturday. Who's going with? Then you've got 100 people going with you. But that one person who says that, it's just the 1%. So if you are that one person who can start it, please start that team. You don't have to be the officer. Just start talking. And then when you've got 3 people, say, okay, you 3 nominate each other, you become the officers, so that we can get going and work with them. So yes, so tonight I want each of us to just come on for a second and just tell us, where will you work in a restoration team? And also the restoration teams have got like the parallel of the knowledge banks. So you will give knowledge in the knowledge bank, but also help in the restoration team. So here we go. Okay, Jay, over to you. You can ask the people questions, because we want them to actually come on board and say how it works for them and what they're doing.
I was just thinking if I should look for the map that we once did for where the 17 different and all the sub-commissions are, or restoration teams, to give more ideas. But maybe we can just start now and just say where your heart comes from, because I think most of us know where our heart is or what we're passionate about. And from the coaching perspective, I used to bring 2 things together. What are you most angry about? And what are you most passionate about? So these 2 things can sometimes definitely bring you into the direction of your purpose. So, for example, if you are very angry about corruption and you're very passionate about I don't know, gardening, then your passion or your destiny might be to look into the area of farming and gardening in a corruption-free space. So bringing these 2 together, what we are most angry about, what triggers us, is something that we are really driven by, and with this often called anger energy or passion energy, it's the same root. We have the force to get together what we really want to do. I'm just going maybe just on my screen the way up and down, or left and right. One would be the next on my screen. What do you feel, in which restoration team do you belong or feel you belong, Yvonne?
Hi, everybody. Okay, well, health is my great passion, definitely. My whole life, I've been taken there. And then I would follow that with children and children's education. And then as a third, I've also got a lot of passion about agriculture and getting proper food production going. So yeah, that's my tuppence worth.
Okay.
Can I jump in here, because I want to ask you some questions, Yvonne? So you say there are 3 things that you're passionate about. Can you combine those 3 in a project in the area where you are in?
Yes, that is pretty much how I roll, yes.
Yes, because you know that the rule that Kim brought out is 1 person, 1 project, but your projects can span over a number of different facets. Yes. Okay, what type of project do you think you can do with health, children, and
well, I've been working with alternative health really all my life, in one way or another, to the point now where I have a business. I work very closely with Dr. Steve and Marlene and Tom, I see there. And then I also have a farm. We have a wonderful young farm manager doing permaculture. And he's already spread in the area amazingly. He's got such wisdom. And our next door neighbor, funny enough, is a reservist who is rescuing children. So we've got that aspect right next door to us. He goes in and rescues children. There's a whole lot of children living on the farm, waiting to be home.
The super thing about that is we network with one another. None of us will work a project just on our own, because it will be your project, but you will network with all the other groups. So that's super.
Yes, and so we really do already have a beautiful network. The only one I'm a bit lacking in is the children's education. which maybe would get me going on a bit of anger. So I haven't really done too much there, but I'd love to get involved in it as well.
But Yvonne, when you start with your project, you do not necessarily have to have all the components, you yourself. It could be somebody who brings the schooling to the children, and that's a separate project, but it dovetails with what you're doing.
Actually, you're right. I must just put it out there, and somehow we just attract the right people. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
I'll do that.
Super.
Thanks, Eunice.
Okay, thanks, Yvonne. Greg, you would be the next on my screen line, so to say.
Sure. Thank you, Jack. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Eunice, it's lovely to see your face. Thank you for putting your video on. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you properly. I just couldn't talk. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate it. Guys, I want to apologize while Craig is saying that. It's old technology that I'm using, but it's something. So the presentations are not world class, but it's something that we can work with. So thank you, Craig.
Jay, your question was what angers you and what passions me. Or what angers me. And I think the first thing that comes to mind is medicine's malpractice. Currently, globally, the third leading cause of death is properly prescribed medication. So we have some serious work to do there. And my passion is to create a testing center for medicinal and natural products to help people to get their products to the shelf or to the consumer in a safe manner, and also have these products labeled correctly. Most people do not know how to read labels, and they don't really know much about certain products. So if we do the labeling correctly and we have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, so to say, then a lot more people will be safe with the medicines that they take. So as far as what we've done so far is we've created some products using medicinal mushrooms, and the company that I currently run has created a really beautiful range of products that are assisting people with their health and their wellness. So it's a passion that I've been busy with for many years, and which I'm going to continue with. And I trust that we are going to be touching many, many lives in the future. And that's enough.
I just want to add something on there. So Yvonne, you need children training or education, and you, Craig, will have to train up people to understand what do they read on that label and how should they use it. So do you see there's training in everything? It doesn't matter what project we're going to look at. We will need training or education or some sort of teaching people, giving them information. And when we are in restoration teams in an assembly, you will reach out to the training people and say, help us bring about how can we do this for the people? This is what we want them to know. And it could be a project of somebody else, bringing that module to your project. Thank you.
In the last
Thank
8 years, we've been, thank you, Eunice. In the last 8 years, we've been training people how to grow their own food. And in that time, we've managed to train 750 people. Some of them have been one-on-one training, some of them have been group trainings, but we've trained just on 750 people now on how to grow their own food. So as far as empowerment is concerned, I think everybody needs to have a certain bit of their business and their offering. A little bit of their business and offering should be empowerment. So learn how to teach people how to fish. And before I continue, that presentation in the beginning, if you could change anything, one of the sentences said, take the children off the streets, and the off needs to be spelled correctly. It's OF instead of OFF.
Good, perfect.
Did a spell check. Thank you for helping me, Greg. I will fix it.
Yeah, but this is, you see, this is how we can get better. We need to observe each other and tell each other. If we just let the other one fall into a trap and don't say anything, help us. So if here hangs a noodle or so and I don't see it, or whatever. If there is chocolate on my mouth, this is maybe more likely. Then just let me know, because then I can put it off. Elsie, you would be the next one on my screen. Would you like to share your passion, your anger, and where you feel, in which restoration team your heart feels to be?
Okay, thank you, Jay. Well, my first answer will be about what I'm most angry about, and that is definitely the low quality and toxic food that we have. So there, Craig can help everybody a lot, and also the medicine malpractice. And I'm of the belief that if we have high quality, pure food, that we won't need medicine, and that food will become our medicine. But that's not my passion. My passion has always been the body-mind connection and health. And I would like to change, to help people to discover again their self-worth, their personal power, and to heighten their consciousness. That's what I would like to change. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lots of things are coming together there. Eunice, something to add?
No, you can carry on. That was good. Thank you, Elsie.
Okay, perfect. Next on my screen is Kim Cooper. Hello, Kim. Would you like to share your anger, passion after unmuting your phone, your microphone?
I was just going to actually, I just had a phone call and I was just pressing the leave button to leave to go and answer the phone. Okay. Right, anger. My anger is really about the way that humanity has been degraded and really put in a place of lost, total lost. And everybody thinks that they know everything, and in fact, nobody knows too much, and we've all got so much to learn. And when I look around me and I see the pain, no matter how rich the person is, no matter how poor the person is, they have pain of being degraded to a level that humanity should never, ever have. We shouldn't have gotten here. And so that is part of upliftment. I'm not very good with upliftment, but when I see the pain, there is something that I want to do about it. At this point, I don't know what though, you know, because there's a lot. Okay. When it comes to passion, I don't know, at this point, I think it's really just helping where I can. Okay. And where I'd like to see great change is in bringing back the true history of Earth. I look at the kids at school. I talk to a lot of kids. I've got 9 grandchildren, which I absolutely adore. And when I see how they've really taken education out of education from when I was in school, and when I see how the planet has been so devastated with the incorrect history, that really gets my goat. And it's a long journey. That's all I can say, really. It's a long journey. And there's so much that we have to fix. History of the planet is so important because that is the root of who we are and where we come from, and all these fake doctrines that have come out there to lie to us about who we really are, and put things back in place the way they were. You know, when the river Nile was there, it was there. And when that river was there, it was there, but not change the names, put them back, you know, I don't know. But yeah, at this point, it's just really serving. That's what I can do at the moment, you know. That's me.
9, did you say 9 grandchildren?
Sorry?
Did you say 9 grandchildren?
Yes, 9 grandchildren that I love. God, they're my heart. And when I see what they get taught at school, honestly, I just want to cry. But, you know, at this point, there's nothing that we can do too much.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the future, this will get fixed. I mean, we really need soldiers marching out there to do this work.
Kim, we can prepare, and that's how change will come about, not any other way. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
found what I was looking for. I hope this is, I'm not 100% sure if this is the latest version, but this gives you a good idea about the restoration teams that we suggest and the subcommittees or sub teams. So this maybe gives you a little bit orientation what we are talking about, where you feel when we just, for example, talking about health. Yeah, we just have here health and wellness. Maybe will be more. But if we, for example, looking at education, there are so many different areas where we have to look at education or and all the other areas here. Just to give you a little bit idea. Yeah, thanks, Kim, for, and then what I always feel is the closer we get to our destiny, the more we are feeling drawn into. And if we only sometimes have a vague feeling which direction we go, sooner or later it will just pull us more and more into what we are about. So thanks for sharing. Now I have to see, I've changed my screen look, so I have to see who's next on my list here. I think it's Steve on my list here. Yeah, Steve, Dr. Steve, would you like to also share your passion, your anger, your way you feel?
Okay, so on the anger, I think it's the way the so-called cabal has been programming humanity, taking them out of a logic reasoning into emotional reasoning. And we see it coming on more and more, where they're trying to get everybody to acquiesce to what they want, selling their toxic chemicals, etc. So and also their financial system, which a fiat financial system we lose every day. So so those are the areas. So it really is the programming of humanity into doing their bidding, and the actual damage it does psychologically and physically to people, forcing people to do things like wearing masks, etc. So so for me, that's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
here's a challenge that I would like to put out for us. I had this discussion recently with a friend of mine where we are working together in certain areas. And if we just used one of the words that always trigger me, programming. For example, even if we look at neuro-linguistic programming or changing the program, I always get something inside of me telling me, no, this is not the lingo that we're looking for. This is not who we are. So I think some words we really have to look, and as you just brought up the programming that happened to us, I challenge you to help me better words and to find ways to create the new language that we actually want to see in the world. I have this discussion from the moment I have to bow down to my business partner in this field and say, okay, it's neuro-linguistic programming, but it's not. And there she sends a message. Okay, going to the next. And Dr. Steve, something to add, or Eunice, something to ask?
Dr. Steve, how will you go about changing that for people? Practically, how will you bring it across to them?
Well, I think what we've got to do is, the actual problem is that most people, or many people, are hypnotized. So we've got to dehypnotize them using the same tactics that they used against us. We've got to use covert hypnosis, NLP style. When we speak to people, instead of actually attacking them, we've got to use the correct wording, etc., so that we can actually change them without them realizing that we're subtly moving them away from that incorrect and destructive belief system and moving them into a more positive system.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Jay, I think time-wise, we must stick to 2 minutes per person so that we can give everybody a chance. Thank you. Super.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Dr. Steve.
Thank you.
Next on my list is Jacques Joubert. Would you like to share, would you like to have your 2 minutes of fame today?
Yes, please.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Anger, the government, not just our government, all the governments, and their abuse of the power that's been the authority. I won't say power because they use force. They don't use power. There's only one power in this life, and that's the power of love. And the way they've abused their position and their position of authority, and that has got to go. And it can only go if we work from grassroots levels up. And in order to do that, and now comes my passion, is that we've got to give people their dignity back. We've got to give them a pride in themselves, that we stop looking at everybody as being different, and we start looking at everybody as part of the whole. There is no white person doing bad to the black. There is no black person doing bad to the white. We're working together as a team, and we can give honest criticism when it's required. But if we work together like that, we all have skills. We all have skills that the others don't have. And together we can change this whole thing. And the dignity comes from a variety of things. It'll come from home gardening and growing your own vegetables. It'll come from a housing project, a creation of jobs, etc., etc., etc. So I don't think that one can look just, I mean, the health and the wellness is a big issue for me as well. But I've discovered that the health and the wellness is mostly that people haven't taken responsibility for their own health. They haven't taken responsibility for their spiritual situation, their financial situation, their body situation. They've always passed it on to other people to make those decisions for them, because that is what we've been trained to do.
Yep.
That is what we've been trained to do. So we got to stop the training, and now we come back to the children. I don't think we're going to be very successful amongst all the adults. This training is so inset in their psyche that it's very difficult to sway them away from it. And very intelligent people as well. They just won't go away, because what does it mean? It means that they are wrong, and they've got this thing that they can't be wrong. So it's a who's right, who's wrong scenario. However, if we can start training the children and look a generation beyond, we can have a whole new South Africa that works absolutely beautiful. We start now, small steps, and work on it and work on it and work on it.
Jake, you're absolutely right with what you said now. You said that we must give people their dignity back, and each one of us is something that other people need. And if we start celebrating one another, if somebody does a small thing and it's good, give them the recognition that they need for that. Don't tell people who are not doing anything that they're doing good. Be in truth, but tell them when they do it. Speak up. Thank you, Jake.
The most impressive word that I found when I looked here, when I came new to South Africa, is how Steve Biko would describe the nation, the defeated. So people were defeated, and with giving back the dignity and calling for self-governance, this is exactly what I feel is the right word, the right direction. We really, I have to cut you a little bit shorter now. Sorry, I was lazy with the time, I guess. We have 22 more minutes. Benjamin would be the next in my line.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. In other words, my anger is also, in other words, how mankind has allowed themselves to be hoodwinked into what has been taking place. So I get angry about that we've allowed it. But then again, it's up to us now to take responsibility. Be aware of that and take responsibility and change that. But change it not in the way it has been done to us, change it in love. With regards to my passion, if I look at those, what's on the list there, my passion has got to do with infrastructure, water services, electricity and things like that. And I'm busy here in Sedgefield on that. I've got involved in the Ratepayers Association, and part of our connection with the councils is exactly in the infrastructure. So that's going to be the start of it there. And there's some exciting things that will come from that. So yes, that's where I am. Look in terms of starting an assembly here as well. Let's start small and work it from there by gaining the people's confidence and respect, showing rather than trying to.
Go for it.
Yeah, short and sweet. That's where we are.
Benjamin, how far are you from George?
About 30 k's.
Okay, I'll speak to you on the phone.
Thanks,
Super
Benjamin.
what you're
Okay.
doing there.
Next in line, so to say, is Kyle van Boeren.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Yeah, I guess at the moment, my focus, well, it always lies with the people closest to you, right? I mean, I guess that's how you decide on the projects. You just look at the problems around you, and once you sort those out, then, you know, it can kind of progress from there. But at the moment, it would be the state of healthcare in our society, and just getting to see some of our fine state-run institutions and how not fine they are. You know, it would be really nice to see some of those quantum biofeedback machines that Kim talks about, you know, getting maybe some sort of blueprint available, or, you know, this technology coming out, and simply just going to a structure like that, or I don't know, even like you say, grassroots, Jake, building your own healing center, you know, maybe combining it with some sort of agricultural smallholding, make yourself like a sanctuary of some kind. You know, I used to live in Hillcrest in KwaZulu-Natal, and I knew a couple of people who had like little smallholding farms there, and they really did make lovely like little sweat lodges and, you know, those sort of things where it can become like a holistic environment. So it heals your spirit as well as healing your body. And I think having a med bay like that in a room that's completely redesigned to like, you know, how we'd like to see healthcare, not just a sterile looking cold room, but something that feels warm and inviting. And you can lie in the bed and you can maybe listen to some really high vibrational music sounds like 432 hertz, you know, working with the different frequencies, and you know, just shaking that whole thing up. But really, if you're wanting to start at a home level, everyone's on the same page when it comes to, you know, growing your own herbs, healing herbs, like with Craig working with mushrooms and those psilocybin, and, you know, things like medical marijuana and different things that God has given us to work with. And we start introducing that, and really those things aren't very expensive, and a project like that is not very hard to get off the ground. You need maybe some basic components, and you can start growing things. And, you know, over time, I guess if a community comes together, it can buy a piece of land with some water and create a center like this. That's how I'd like to see myself starting. And everything evolves around that, whatever the project needs to be, until it gets to the point where you can recreate that entire vision and help other people build it elsewhere. And that's how you can help other assemblies down the line. So yeah, like you said, just need a few people.
Super. Go for it, Kyle. Go for it.
Yeah, well, I am at the moment. I mean, I'm growing some of my own plants, and, you know, just getting myself in that mindset that if everything shut down tomorrow, everything that we use to, you know, live a convenient life, like food, access, all of those things shut down, how would you go about looking after yourself? And do you really retain those skills, you know, and can you stay civil in such an environment? But yeah, that's just me.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Kyle.
I wish we had more time.
That's all right, I understand.
Marlene is the next one on my screen. Hello, Marlene.
Hi, hello. My anchor, I would say, is what has happened to humanity, what has been done to us. But at the same time, we cannot keep pointing fingers at the cabal and keep pointing fingers at everything that is happening with people. We have to take responsibility and realize that we created this ourselves. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I do work with Yvonne and Dr. Steve, and we're in this group that is obviously on the alternate medicine side and alternative healing practices and things like that, which has also been my passion for many, many years, getting people to try and eat properly, watch, you know, try and get away from the medicines that the doctors, I mean, as we know, the damage that is caused from medical and medicines that is, you know, prescribed. It's to teach people the alternate. But I've also, in myself, I've now got a house, which I know that my house has a purpose. And one of the purposes is that I would like to get it to be a healing sanctuary, a place where people can come to do, because we have these alternative devices and things that people can sit on. So instead of if those people that cannot afford to buy the devices or go to places to do these things, to come to my house where they could actually sit on the machines. And I also believe that people need to be taught that you know, they are responsible. Their thinking creates their reality. And in teaching people, one of my courses that I used to run, and I would like to get back to running it again, was the Louise Hay workshop. And finding those programs that are, because we've been programmed by the cabal, whether we know it or whether we don't, but it's to understand that programming and then how to unleash that and let it go, and how to use the tools to actually start with the change, because the change starts with the self. And only then do we set and walk that example then to go and help other people. But if we aren't doing it ourselves, there's no ways others are going to look at us and even try and follow us, because we're not doing it. So I believe that personally, we all have to be doing it ourselves first.
Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Super, super.
Well,
Jay, we really have a time constraint, and I want all the people to have a chance. So can we make it a little bit shorter, please, guys?
Okay.
But we want to hear all of you.
Ursula would be the next in line, please.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm not going to take much time because I'm not as advanced as most of the people that have been speaking. Well, you know, in terms of identifying my passion or my anger and having anything going at this point. So my passion would be animals, and I would love to get involved in any way of helping animals, making things better for them. So that would be my main thing. I think anger, there's many things I could get angry about, but I'll leave that to another time.
Super.
Thank you.
You know, Ursula, that when the assurance card comes out, it's for the animals as well. So some people think animals are not important. They're very important. Just like human beings, it's our planet. We need to take care of all of them. So thank you. You are quite advanced. Keep on doing what you're doing. Keep it in your heart.
Thank you, Eunice.
Marie Fenter would be the next one on my screen. Marie, would you like to share with us? Then please unmute.
Good evening, everybody. What I'm very skilled in is engineering support and project management. That's what I've been doing for 30 plus years. So that's what I know. My passion would be also animals, those with no voices. I feel very strong about animals, and then art as well.
Yeah. So how are you going to put all of that together in one?
Goodness knows.
I like what you're doing. I like it's quite a wide variety of things, but they're all interlinked somehow in you, at least. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Super.
That's why.
How would you go about that, Marie? How would you go about that? What do you think of doing?
At this stage, I've got no idea. You know, I can use my skills that I've got, you know, for any project whatsoever. But yeah, where it would come into the passion, who knows? I mean, I do art as a hobby, but it could be in education. Talking of education, if I may, I think we should look at education more on a practical matter. Kids should be taught the basic things in life instead of useless subjects. I think it should start there, teaching about spirituality, how to look after yourself, you know, health-wise, all of those things. Education had to take a 360 turn. It must change. It can't go on the old dead system. It's not working.
Okay, when I sometimes blend in again the different departments or committees / restoration teams, this is just for you to feel a little bit more about where you maybe belong. Amina Bianca would be the next in line.
Hi, everybody. When we speak of anger, my anger is towards the bribery and corruption that's currently taking place in South Africa. My profession is I'm a multimodal global controller. I specialize in road transport into Africa, sea freight, road freight, sea freight, and air freight globally. Many years ago, we used to be the hub into Africa and getting cargo to the different mines, Congo, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. It's very difficult now with all the hijackings and thefts that are taking place at the ports. The training of customs officers so that they can understand, you know, what their jobs are. They're very important. You know, making them understand that. My passion is for kids. I have a love for kids, especially children that are being not treated properly in these times. I can't handle that. You know, they also need a chance. And with the project that we are currently doing, we see that there's no infrastructure for these kids, and how they get lost in the system, and how they get taken, like stolen, basically. And there's no records and stuff. So if I could fix that, you know, it all it blends in with everything. You know, if you think about the import and export, you've been doing cargo, but then you hear about these kids that are being human trafficked. So, you know, people need to be made aware of these things, and they need to understand that this is not right. Yeah, that's me.
But I mean, also a lot of the public do not know what to look out for. They get trafficked right under their noses, and people do not realize that is part of it. So yes, you're quite right. Yeah. Thank you.
Mina. Next in line is Tom. Tom, would you like to unmute yourself and share with us?
Yes, evening everyone. So what I would like to see a change in is the corporate governance and corporate structures coming down. That's something that's enslaved almost all of humanity in some shape or form. And then the that I'm working on quite closely is directly in agriculture. So I'd like to see big changes happening within the agricultural space. And that's the areas that I'll be working on. And leaders, we need leaders to be raised up and to help humanity along, because there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of shock. And I really believe we're lacking a lot of leadership, which has been replaced with corporate type.
Yeah. And I think, and when we really listen to us, it doesn't matter how big the team is, but there is a leader in all of us. It's not when we speak about leaders that they need to lead 1 million people or so, but it's the inner leader that I call often to stand up. And this can be just for 2 or 3 people, but we all have some leadership in us. I'm a little bit, my screen share. I think the next one is Dani. Thank you, Tom.
That's Craig. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've made a little list here, and starting with healthcare. Now, most of you guys know that I have this vision of doing 9 medical centers in South Africa and building an old age home in every plattelandse dorpie. So, and that old age home must be self-sustainable. So the next component is free energy, free water, accommodation, agriculture. So it must be totally standalone. So it's a big project with sub-project inside it. And yeah, and then the next thing that I've jotted down here is I feel with respect to education, that myself and a colleague thought if this ship one day come, we will sponsor one of our universities with a department that will only concentrate on quantum energy. Because I feel quantum energy is very much put aside, because it kind of, if it works properly, the religious guys are going to put you back you with stones and call the police, because it's things that you can't see. But we can't see radio waves, we can't see radar waves, we can't see TV waves, but if you are telepathic and you can speak to animals and those kind of things. You know, intuition has grown to a level that is mind-boggling. Then it's a problem with the religions. So I feel that the children of today.
Yeah, maybe
Sorry?
maybe a restoration team for you would be a think tank. So where it's not about so much about implementation, but seeing the newest things. And I'm just spitting it out there. So,
yeah, because we work on a very high level to get the things on grassroots right. We older guys must go and sort out the structures on top, and it's only us that can do it. Because I see every day, Kyle can maybe talk, intervene here, and Tom. There's a lot of times that the youngsters tell me, "Hi, Wagdani, please come with. These guys is not going to take me serious because I don't have a grey beard." That kind of stories. So we have the privilege of a grey beard. So let's use it and start doing the thing right for the youngsters. I had this dream a few years ago about Einstein that says that humankind has two ways to live his life: a difficult way and an easy way. And we chose the difficult way. The easy way is the quantum way, and the quantum way is being suppressed by the religions. So we have to get the youngsters on university and school level to think quantum, and then they can't be, sorry for the word, mind fucked by other things.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So before I'm called to suppress others, please let me move on.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you.
Would be the next in line, please. Would you like to share your passion, your heart, Bolero?
Good evening, everyone. As I have already mentioned the last time, that I am more in the education and awareness side. But at the moment, I am working closely with community members, in fact, civil society organizations. We are in advocacy. We are advocating for environmental and social justice. So at the moment, we wanna pilot a project at schools by forming enviro clubs, whereby school children will grow their own food to supply their kitchen, their school kitchen with the food that they have produced for their nutritional program. And it has not started yet. It's still on the pipeline, but we have managed to speak with two schools that are in two different areas, and they are appreciating the initiative. So we are busy trying to find ways on ensuring that the project takes place and it's successful.
Perfect. Wonderful.
I'm so happy that you're doing that, because we need much more of that. But pilot it, go for it. And if we can help in any way, please speak to us, because it's really needed. Well done. Well done. Go for it.
Yeah, actually, Bolero, I can connect you with somebody that has already been doing that with a couple of schools in one area for the past number of years, and they're very successful. They're making meals at the schools, and they're also selling the extra vegetables and fruit in town at an informal market every week, and it's very well supported even by the community.
Thank you so much, Tandy. I'll speak to you after this meeting.
Yeah. Longwane would be the next one in line, please, if you'd like to unmute yourself. I see your friend Ursula says you'd like to be called Rastaman, or she calls you Rastaman. I don't know you, I just call you Longwane.
No problem. Good evening. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Eunice. The name is Nchansha Longwane. In terms of what makes me angry is poverty, injustice, and ignorance in terms of, what is really happening in the world, and why it's so difficult for us to make real and meaningful change. in terms of passion, it's freedom, children, women's rights, human rights. This is only my second meeting, so I'm really just only still exploring. But apply my trade in television, mostly in content. I have a background in education. I've also been a journalist, and I've had several publications. I'm an activist at heart. There's really a lot wrong, happening in the world, and I really would love a legitimate opportunity, to try and make the world a better place. I don't have a restoration team selected as yet, but I have enjoyed, even from our first meeting, some of the sentiments and projects that people were talking about. Certainly this evening, I've enjoyed what Kyle was saying about medical marijuana. If anything, I'd like to explore that. I'm not sure if it was Amina or Marie, who was speaking about transport and cargo. I've got an interest in that, and also certainly Dani in terms of old age homes, But it's really been difficult for me to really put my passion, behind anything really, because, it's kind of difficult to, to have things take off, primarily with funding. So I'm really keen on exploring this opportunity and this platform to see what is possible going forward.
It is so nice to see you and meet you. And sorry, I thought Longwana is your first name, but I see now that it's your name. I think you have been elected to head up our media department. No, I'm just kidding. You see, your interest is so large, but I hear media, journalism. This is where all it comes together, that we can put it out there as well. So maybe this is something that you feel called to being a part of. And one of the things that we would like to do is just get in contact with the people on the ground, with the community radio.
100%, but not so much media, but mostly like in terms of content. But I've got a huge interest in education, primarily Pan-Africanist education, and making sure that, children have, heroes, that look like them, that they can also celebrate. So I've got a lot of passions, but thank you, Jay. Thank you, Eunice, and thank you, everybody.
Longwani, you're amongst people who really appreciate you and like what you're doing. Just keep on doing it, and don't worry, don't box yourself in. You will flow where you need to be, but you put a smile on a lot of people's faces tonight.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Eunice. Thanks, Sheila.
Please spread the message and invite more to contribute. Edna says her phone can't unmute, so she just likes to say she is involved in on the holistic side with education and animals as well. Super. And then, sorry for running 3 minutes over already. Tommy is on my list, the last one. Would you like to share your passion, anger, restoration, membership?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, my concerns are, I think we most people have the same concerns, is, the lack of, basically all kinds of resources, so especially financial. So what I see around me is, even, and sorry, there's an aeroplane going over. I'm not sure if it's affecting the audio.
No, it's fine.
But people that are working, okay, so even with people that are working, after they get paid, the second, third day after they get paid, they don't have money anymore to last them through the month, so people are working, people are earning money, but it's just not enough. And like, as part of my wish list, I hope at some point, it's actually possible, where between our think tank and the National Assembly, where we approach Kim, for instance. But this is just on my wish list, that we can actually get our currency adjusted some way, where either the wages or salaries is a minimum salary for any job done, or otherwise, a change in the value of our currency. And then also, when it comes to our National Assembly and the think tank, just 1 or 2 points. Where we have assemblies and where we have projects going, if we can have maybe a national map where, you know, on the map, where it will show footprints of the different assemblies, and also, you know, of projects that's in progress or existing. And then, yeah, for the immediate area, yeah, you know, security is one of the main concerns. So that's probably where I would like to get involved in the beginning. And then also something, sorry, I just missed another point here. Also a National Assembly and I think tanks. You know, if we could maybe design something called project in a box. So I see we already have some specialists, and then to help, you know, the people coming on board and wanting to do projects, you know, people that have already been successful, you know, in those or with similar type of projects. So basically, you know, I'm just imagining now when you open up whatever form it might take, but just call it the project in a box. So you open it and then you find all the requirements there. You know, and places to look for resources or guidelines, where to source different products, etc.
Yes,
that's it from me. Thanks.
That's what we also imagine, and I just can't find the number right now in my mind. There will be a project team that will support everyone who needs support, and definitely some startup in this direction. I think Eunice helped me. We have about 170 to 270 people in the project team in the budget. So until we hand over to someone who are more experts in this. But this is definitely the point, because many people have an idea what to do, but not many have an idea how to get it successfully implemented. So there will be a step-by-step guidance from project managers, project teams who travel the country and help each other to go to the next level. Sorry for being 7 minutes over. I hand back to Eunice.
I just want to add something. Thank you, Jay.